I think many Christians suffer from the orphan spirit. The orphan spirit, which you can know, or an indicator to know that the orphan spirit is there, is where you have this feeling of hustle, this feeling of trying to, do it all by yourself. This feeling that if I don't step up, if I don't do anything, nobody will show up for me. I speak so strongly on this because I used to have that orphan spirit, the orphan syndrome, where I'm working so hard, everything is in my head. Yes, I'm praying, yes, I'm trusting God, but in my trusting God, I put all the plan, all the ideas, all the ways to achieve my set goals on myself. So let me give an instance. You want to buy a car, you need a car. It's a very maybe it's a very urgent need and a strong necessity for that season of your life. And then you are getting anxious about it because you've made plans and made things and sketched your own ways of how you're going to raise the money and buy the car. Now it's looking like it's not working and you are panicking and you're even panic praying, and doing all of that because you want a car. Some people get into compromise. Some people just do things. Maybe they are doing one business, they start doing 3 more because they have a goal they want to do. They take up any offer that will bring up the money because they're just here and there, the way anyone who is dependent solely on himself would do. But I had a very profound experience that brought my deliverance from that situation. And that profound experience happened when I needed to pay a rent. I needed to pay a particular rent for my business, and it was coming close to the time the rent would be due, and of course the amount was running in, let's leave that part, but was actually a huge amount. And I was doing everything, making plans, setting marketing goals, doing everything I knew I could do to make that end meet. And it was as if all the purses weren't fitting in, the plans weren't just nailing the goal. And I got into panic praying, and that will be a topic I'll discuss another day. So I got into panic praying. I started doing fasting, and in the middle of my waking up to pray at one time, because of the fast I was doing, God told me that I was idolizing this prayer because it was beginning to look like it's all of these things that I'm doing that would make me get what I want. I'll still talk more on idolizing prayer another time because I want this video, I don't want to digress a lot in this video. So and God told me that as his child, he is more concerned to ensure that I'm never brought to disgrace than I can ever be. And in that instance, I begin to come into the realization of being a child of an almighty God. But that wasn't even that for me. So at that point, okay, I let go of all of that panic praying and I just relaxed. Was like, okay, God, I'm trusting you. If I perish, I perish. I do not want embarrassment because I'm running a faith-based business. And even though at that point we're still at the earliest stage of our expansion, so you've done some investment and you'll be expecting to have some time of trying to get stability. But even at that, not to the point of not being able to pay this rent. Well, to cut the long story short, just before that rent would be, become a disgrace, a thing of disgrace, and when the caretaker was telling me, by next week your rent would be due, I said yes, I know, but confirm the date and get back to me. That was what I was saying to him. Now, that very week, God made a provision that I could never have imagined. A provision that could pay that rent times. Remember, I said the rent was in huge numbers, right? But that provision could pay that rent in multiple. Now, why am I stating this? It was not, the provision was out of the blues. Yes, it was still, it was still in time. It was still exactly at the nick of time, but it was out of the blues. It was only God that could have made that provision. It was only God that could have made that provision. So what am I saying? What I'm saying is this. I was busy looking for ways I could, marketing goals, what I could strategize and all of that. And then a contact that we had established, by we now I'm my husband, brought in a project that's, come on. So what I'm saying is that all of that was not in my plan. It was not what I could have planned, but God has orchestrated that. He had orchestrated that and kept it. So that liberated me from the orphan spirit. And I've been led in my heart that one day I will share this, and today happens to be the day. That as children of God, no matter the situation you are in, you should, all of us get to have that panic, but this is a reminder to both myself and every other person that we should always remember that we are not orphans. We are people that are catered for. We are people with a God. Romans 8:15 said that the spirit you have received does not make you slaves. It does not put you it does not put fear into you. That it makes you sons by adoption, and it gives you the ability to cry, Abba, Father. So what am I saying to you is this. Imagine that you as a parent, you are here planning and doing all you could, putting things into place so that as the school is resuming, your children will have their school fees paid and they will get to school. And then you come and you see your child borrowing money from different people or picking things to go and hawk on the road, selling items in the home. Your child, you're 14 years old, and you're like, why are you doing all of this? Because I'm trying to make sure that I need to pay my school fees. You would be embarrassed that he had gone to the neighbors to borrow money. He had gone to the streets to hawk your own child. When you've already made plans, when you've already got this figured out, when this is the sole reason why you're actually working and going to business place or workplace every day, and your child is out here in the streets embarrassing you. Why? Behaving like they are orphans. Why you yet breathe? Why you are still alive? So this is exactly how we behave when we begin to run frantically here and there, begin to compromise, do all manner of things. Sometimes it may not be compromise. It may just be getting into things without God leading you into them. The hustle spirit. So can we just calm down and remember that when the Lord is your shepherd, you shall not want. There will be no need that the Lord will ignore. Unless you are a recalcitrant child, a disobedient child who does not pay attention. If the father has said, go home and collect the money that I kept in the wardrobe and pay that fees, but you refuse to go home, you refuse to pick your father's call to hear the words he has to say to you and the direction he has for the provision he has made, the directions on how you can assess it, you refuse to do all of that. You are roaming the street. You will miss out even though you are a child, but that does not mean that your father has not provided. He has provided, but you have not aligned. So God will never leave you to be disappointed. Please note that he will never leave you. So if you want to pray, if you want to fast about that situation, go ahead and do that. But your fasting should not be the panic prayer, oh, let me fast so that God will provide it. No, it's let me fast so that I will know the direction to go, so that God will show me how I can assess the already made provision. It's already made. It's now the knowledge you have that will allow you to assess it, or give you the peace of mind, or give you the wisdom to handle the relationship and circumstances that will bring you to that provision.